The school gym was eerily quiet, with only the sound of the storm outside echoing through the empty hallways. I spotted Ryan, my classmate, my love, sneaking into the gym, his movements cautious. A sense of unease filled me as I wondered what he was up to. Despite my doubts, I decided to follow him, hoping he wasn't in any trouble. Inside, the gym felt vast and deserted. I saw Ryan heading toward the equipment room. I hesitated but continued to follow, trying to stay out of sight. As Ryan entered the equipment room, the heavy metal door slammed shut behind him with a loud clang. Suddenly, I heard a girl's laughter coming from somewhere inside the room. The sound was soft and almost eerie. A sense of unease settled over me. I felt something was off and couldn't shake the suspicion that something fishy was going on. I tried to listen more closely, but the laughter was fleeting and hard to pinpoint. My mind raced as I considered what could be happening, and I knew I had to stay alert. My heart raced, but I approached the door and tried to open it. But it was jammed. With all my strength, I tugged at the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. Frustration and panic set in as I pulled harder, desperate to get it open. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my hand, followed by an audible snap. I recoiled in agony, clutching my hand as the pain intensified. A scream escaped my lips, piercing through the silence of the gym. I was on the ground, cradling my broken hand, trying to catch my breath between the waves of pain. Ryan and Tina rushed over. As I explained what happened, my voice shaky from the pain, Tina's irritation grew. The situation had gone from bad to worse, and being stuck here now felt even more unbearable. The storm outside continued to rage as the cold and dampness seeped into the equipment. Tina was scolding me for closing the door. We searched for some blanket but couldn't find. Hours passed, and both Ryan and I grew increasingly thirsty. The dryness in our throats became unbearable, and we both started searching the room for anything to drink. Desperation led me to rummage through old shelves and forgotten corners, hoping to find something, anything, to quench my thirst. While searching, I spotted a brand new Coke bottle sitting in a dusty corner. My heart leaped at the sight of it. I eagerly reached for it, but as I picked it up, I noticed something odd. The bottle was completely empty. The cap was still sealed, but there was no drink inside. Disappointment washed over me as I showed the empty bottle to Ryan, who sighed in frustration. The exhaustion from thirst and the pain in my hand made me feel weak and tired. Ryan slumped down beside me, equally drained. Both of us felt the weight of the situation pressing down, and it was becoming harder to keep our spirits up. But as I glanced at Tina, something didn't sit right with me. Despite the hours spent trapped in the cold room, she looked surprisingly fresh. Her skin wasn't dry, and her energy level seemed higher than mine and Ryan's. The contrast between her condition and ours made me suspicious. How could she look so fine when the two of us were struggling? My curiosity grew as I watched her more closely. Tina was careful, not drawing too much attention to herself, but the subtle signs were there. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. Determined to find out what it was, I decided to bide my time and observe her every move. Her furtive movements and the sound of chewing made my stomach churn. Despite the cold and discomfort, the sight of her eating in secret while Ryan and I were suffering made me feel a deep sense of betrayal. I tried to ignore the pain in my hand and focus on the situation at hand. Later, when Tina seemed distracted, I quietly nudged Ryan and gestured for him to follow me to a corner of the room where we could speak privately. I whispered my suspicions, telling him about Tina's unusually fresh appearance despite the lack of water and the empty Coke bottle I found earlier. Ryan listened carefully, his eyes narrowing in thought as he glanced over at Tina. Together, we both agreed to keep a close eye on her, waiting for the right moment to confront her about whatever she was hiding. The air in the room grew thicker with tension as the truth slowly started to unravel. As I was sleeping, I suddenly woke up to the sound of someone eating. The noise was faint, but unmistakable. I turned my head to see Tina sitting in the corner, quietly munching on something. I was watching her closely when I noticed Tina quickly shove something into her mouth, her movements furtive and secretive. She turned away, trying to hide the act, but it was too late. I had caught her red-handed. Without thinking, I called out to her, startling both Ryan and Tina. "What's in your mouth, Tina?" I demanded, my voice sharp with accusation. Tina froze, her eyes wide with shock. She mumbled something incoherent, trying to cover her mouth with her hand, but the damage was done. I had seen the crumbs at the corner of her lips. Ryan's gaze snapped to Tina. "Have you been hiding food from us this whole time?" he asked, his voice low and threatening. Tina, realizing she had been caught, swallowed hard and slowly turned to face both of us. He started searching her bag. He found a small sandwich, a granola bar, and even a half-full bottle of water. "You were going to let us starve while you ate in secret?" Ryan's voice was filled with disbelief and anger. Tina looked down, guilt flashing across her face. I was scared," she stammered. "I didn't know how long we'd be stuck here, and I panicked. I thought, if I saved it for myself, I'd have a better chance." Her words only fueled my frustration. Ryan grabbed the bottle of water from her bag, his hand shaking with anger. "We're supposed to be in this together, Tina. How could you?" Tina didn't respond, her silence only deepening the tension in the room. Tina had shown her true colors, and it wasn't something either of us would forget anytime soon. But then, Tina started laughing. "You really think I'm the bad guy here?" Tina said, her voice calm but laced with a strange intensity. "I knew you two would turn on me eventually. That's why I was prepared." Confused, Ryan and I exchanged a look, unsure of what she meant. Tina reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, sleek device, a recording device. She pressed play, and the sound of our voices filled the room, our earlier suspicions and accusations clear as day. "I knew you two would suspect me," Tina continued, her smile unsettling. "So, I recorded everything. If anything happens to me, people will know the truth that you two were planning something against me." Ryan's face turned pale as he realized the implications. The situation had turned upside down. Tina had anticipated everything and had cleverly set a trap. She wasn't just hoarding food and water. She was manipulating the situation from the start, making sure she came out on top no matter what. Feeling cornered, I tried to reason with her, but it was clear Tina held all the cards now. I took a deep breath and said, "Tina, you may have recorded us, but you've underestimated us." Before Tina could react, I made a quick decision. I reached into my bag and pulled out my own phone, which had been recording the entire conversation from the moment Tina had started her manipulation. I had anticipated the possibility of a confrontation and had secretly recorded Tina's actions and confessions. "Looks like we're not the only ones who prepared," I said, holding up my phone. "I've got everything on record too. Your little scheme is about to backfire." Tina's smile faltered as she saw the screen of my phone, showing the recording of her admitting to manipulating the situation and hiding supplies. The color drained from her face as the evidence of her deceit played out for her to see. "No, this can't be happening," Tina stammered. Ryan took advantage of Tina's shock. He stepped forward, his voice firm. "We're going to show this to the authorities in the school. Your attempt to frame us will only lead to your own downfall." "Wait," Tina pleaded. "Let's talk about this." But Ryan and I were already moving toward the door, ready to leave the shed and reveal Tina's duplicity. Just as we were making progress, we heard footsteps outside. Moments later, the door creaked open, revealing the custodian who had come to check on the shed. His eyes widened in surprise at finding the three of us inside, but he quickly helped us out. As we stepped into the fresh morning air, a wave of relief washed over us.